Alright guys, doing a little self video. I've been meaning to get some more information out there in reference to the mule stabilizer because I've had a lot of questions. So one of the questions that I've had is, where did the name come from? The mule stabilizer, where did that name come from? Well, the mule, obviously, because this thing goes on the front of your bow, and it helps carry the load of your bow when you're walking. And obviously you can see here how it carries the load of the bow while it's sitting upright. So the mule is in reference to a pack mule. So a pack mule you utilize to get into the backcountry or pack into your stand, pack into wherever. So that's where the mule name came from. So the front of this stabilizer looks like a saddle, and you use a pack saddle on a mule. So that's where the name came from, and it's pretty cool. There's a lot of history if you look up where mules came from and how they started. The actual breed of mules. I did a lot of research. I'm kind of a nerd like that, but that's where I came up with the name. So pretty cool name, I think, for the product, and I think it's gonna stick. So the other questions that I got are in reference to what can this thing do? Why is it any different from any other stabilizer? Which in some ways it's a lot like every other stabilizer, but the shape, as you can see, most every other stabilizer on the market is going to be a tubular style stab that looks like a pipe. Everybody's stabilizer kind of looks the same. This one's unique and it's different because of its flat line design. This body here is 1 inch wide by a 1/2 inch thick, and this is all one solid piece. So, and the saddle in the front is one of the main features of how I came up with this idea and this design. So, what's really cool that I really love about this, even though it's different to the market, there's nothing been like it on the market before, and I designed it myself as a hunter. Everything that you see here is made and comes from the United States. So the aluminum, 6061 aluminum that this thing is actually fabricated out of, came out of Utah, which I really like. The coating is a plastisol PVC coating, and that is done in Pennsylvania. All the engineering, the design, the fabrication, and all the work that's been put into this thing over the past couple years, and the final product recently was all done in Texas. So everything is in the United States, which is really cool. I really like that about that. I've been approached by a lot of people about, hey, you need to get this thing overseas and get it mass produced. It'd be a lot cheaper on you. Well, I'm not going to skimp. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to skimp on quality for quantity at all. So this is all made in the United States. Took a lot of time, a lot of engineering, a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, a lot of logistics, should I say, to get to where I'm at today with this thing. Even though it's very simple, it looks simple, but the features of this product are really cool. So let's go into some of the features. So when this is on your bow, and how I came up with this, I don't know if anybody's seen any videos that I put out before. They were kind of just real quick 60-second videos, kind of vague, but so I was hunting in the backcountry, and I had a regular straight line stabilizer, and I was carrying it on my bow. And I carry my bow when I'm in the backcountry like this, and walking, and that stabilizer just would not stay still. It would not stay still on my forearm, and you have to switch arms back and forth, and walking 5-10 miles, it starts to be troublesome. So what it was doing was causing a little fatigue in the wrist and the arm and having to carry things. And at the time I didn't have a sling, and a lot of times you want to be ready. You want to be, if you're walking and backpacking, you never know what's going to walk up on you, or you're going to walk up on. You may jump a bedded bull or whatever it may be. So I keep my bow readily handy. So after walking, I sat down to have a snack, and I looked over and I found me a stick, and I zip tied it to the front of my stabilizer. This is the stabilizer I was using at the time, and I zip tied it to the front of my stabilizer, and this little U-shaped stick is what I used, and that thing just locked into my forearm, and I was carrying my bow, and it just made a huge difference. I mean, anything you can add to your bow, your equipment, to help you when you're in the field, to help you anywhere, why not try it? So that's what I did. And I came home, and I decided to make one that's actually going to work for me, thinking that, you know, somebody made this somewhere. Somebody's got to have something like this. So I looked around. I looked at pro shops. I looked online, and I couldn't find nothing. So I went home and I made something. And this was my first prototype that I made at my house. So this is all aluminum. I found a piece of rod and bought it and tapped it, put a 5/16 by 24 bolt on it, and I wrapped it in paracord for some padding, and I put it on my bow, and I used it. I hunted with it, and I started going to some shoots and going to some pro shops, and people were wondering, where did I get this thing? You know, where can they get one? And I told them I made it, and that's kind of where the process started. So I worked on getting a patent. I was able to get that patent done, and I started engineering and designing the Mach 3 prototype, which is what I'm going to release here pretty soon. So the Mach 3 prototype is this model right here. So this model right here, again, all made in the United States, all one piece of solid aluminum. What's really cool about this is when I started engineering and designing the product that I'm going to release to the public, I really started to focus on not just the features, the cool features that this thing does to allow you to carry your bow, to allow you to rest your bow down wherever you want. I mean, if you see how this thing sits, your cams, your strings, your cables, your limbs, your sight, your rest, everything is off the ground. And I mean, it will tip over if you push it hard enough, but typically you can see how this thing is going to lock down. And this is on a table, plastic table, but it's still, because of this coating, it grips. So it's really cool how this thing will keep your bow standing. You can put it in front of your animal, take cool pictures, set it down when you're shooting a target. I use it a lot. People like to ask me questions about it when I go to a pro shop and I shoot, and I set it down on the ground standing up, and everybody else is either hanging it by their limb or setting it down, leaning against something on their cam. They're leaning against the wall, which is bad. And this is cool. And everywhere I've been, my bow is the only one that's set like that, because right now it's the only ones that are out. So, but the cool features that I worked on in reference to performance for this thing. So I wanted to, you know, make this thing more appealing. So not just because of the cool features that it does. Kind of one of my little slogans, the multi-tool of stabilizers. So what I did for performance-wise, so because of the flat plane of this stabilizer and how it has, believe it or not, it has a better balance because of this flat plane. So, and because of the saddle that's in the front, this saddle allows the bow to balance better left and right. It made a huge difference on leveling for me. It made a huge difference on leveling whenever you're at full draw, and it's really come in handy. And not also that, but what it also does, when I'm at full draw, I can see this saddle on both sides. When I'm at full draw, I can see that saddle out in front of the bow on both sides and know where my bow is at, just peripheral. I don't have to keep an eye on my level on my sight. I can see it peripheral and know that I'm balanced just right. So it's really cool to see that out in front. So some people ask me about dampening. What's the difference of any other stabilizer out there and dampening? So what I did with this particular stabilizer, with the product that I'm going to release, is that I coated this thing. The body is coated in a 1/16 of an inch plastisol PVC coating, which is really rugged, really tough. It's actually a medical grade plastisol PVC coating. But what I did also is I added the thickness to the front saddle to allow that energy and that vibration and that sound to transfer through the body and still dampening through the body because of the 16-inch coating, but also in the front, it's got a bonded coating in the front on the saddle, which allows that vibration to dissipate in the saddle, which is really cool. It made a big difference on vibration for me on these bows, even though I know the technology nowadays with all bows, they're going to be dead in the hand, but it made a real big difference on mine. So, I mean, if you try it, you'll see what I mean. And on balance wise, because the saddle is obviously forward weight, it's in the front of the stabilizer, so it adds that little forward weight to help you hold target, which is really cool. Some of the cool features that I like about it. This bolt here is a 5/16 by 24 thread stainless steel, which obviously is going to be cool whenever you're hunting rain or whatever. You got to worry about this thing rusting out. That's gonna, and the body's made out of aluminum, so you ain't got to worry about that part rusting out. So man, this thing is, I mean, for lack of a better word, is bulletproof. I mean, you can run it over, you can throw it at somebody, you can use it as a hammer, you can do whatever you want. This thing is solid, tough, made in the USA, and I'm really proud of it. It took a lot of even though it looks simple, it took a lot of thinking and testing and engineering and design ideas to come up with this thing that looks so simple. But there's a lot behind it. So I've been working on this for 2 years, and I'm really glad to finally get it finished and be able to get it out to the public. So I love it. I think you're going to love it. I think everybody that utilizes it is going to love it. I know when I had my Mach 2 model, I only had one stabilizer, and I had it on one bow, and I would use it all the time. And whenever I would switch to different bow, I would immediately go to lock that thing in my forearm, and it wouldn't be there if it was on a different bow. And I was like, man, I got to get more of these things. So they just work really awesome. And then again, of course, this review is coming from me. I'm the owner, the designer, the engineer. I'm a one-man show. It's coming from me, and you can take it or leave it. But I'm telling you right now, this thing, for as simple as it is, as simple as it looks, is a game changer. It really is a game changer, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope that y'all are excited. I hope that that y'all will try it out. Give me a like, give me a share, tell your friends about it. Man, let's go shoot.